Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a pretty harrowing story.
Yeah, it's about a 16-year-old girl from Missouri, missing for, what, 4.5 months?
That's right. And then found alive, thankfully, but all the way over in Fort Collins, Colorado.
We've got this really detailed report that lays out the whole thing, the abduction, how she was held, and the rescue itself.
So our mission here, for you listening, is to really unpack this. We want to understand how it started, like the online grooming aspect.
The digital trail that led to her rescue.
Exactly. And you know what it means for child safety, technology, all of that.
What jumped out at me right away was how it all hinged on, like, a single message.
Yeah, an Instagram message from an old phone. Seems almost random, but it was everything.
Okay, so let's trace that digital thread. The report says the initial contact was on an app called Boo.
Boo. Heard of it, yeah. Personality-based, kind of a niche dating or social app.
Right. And the report notes maybe its safety features aren't quite as robust as the bigger platforms. Plus, it apparently had a data breach in the past.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So vulnerability from the start. Then it moved to Snapchat.
Which, Snapchat talks about safety, but those encrypted, disappearing messages, they're often exploited for grooming. It creates a false sense of security.
A perfect tool for predators, really. But the twist.
The twist is the old phone. The abductor, Bondrescu, gave it to her.
Probably thought it was wiped or disconnected, maybe.
Possibly. But somehow, she still had access to an old Instagram account on it, and she sent that message.
That one message. And that's what the cybercrimes task forces, both in Missouri and Fort Collins, latched onto.
Exactly. They tracked the IP address. That was the break. A huge oversight on his part.
It just shows, doesn't it? Even tiny digital crumbs can lead somewhere vital.
It really does. Now let's talk about the predator himself. Maximilian Bondrescu, 44 years old.
And crucially, already a registered sex offender.
Yes. With a prior conviction back in 2019. And get this, the charge was communication with minor for immoral purposes.
Wow. So almost the exact same playbook.
Yeah.
That's chilling.
It is. And then there's another layer. In Colorado, he was also charged with failure to register as a sex offender, incomplete registration.
Incomplete. What does that mean in this context?
Well, Colorado's SR, their Sex Offender Registration Act, specifically requires registering online identifiers, things like email addresses, social media handles.
And he hadn't fully complied.
Apparently not, which raises big questions about how well these registries work, especially tracking offenders across state lines,
Yeah, there's always that debate, isn't there? How effective are these registries? Do they deter? Does the data sharing actually work?
Research is kind of mixed, honestly.
But
in this specific case, that prior conviction for such a similar act, it feels pretty predictive.
Definitely. Okay, so how did he physically get her from Missouri to Colorado and keep her hidden?
The report mentions he used a rental car, and he specifically avoided toll roads, trying to minimize any kind of digital or traceable footprint, presumably.
Smart, in a sinister way. And when they got to Colorado...
Physical concealment, wrapped her in a blanket initially. Then, during the 4.5 months, intense isolation.
And he took her ID, her learner's permit, student ID.
Yeah, stripped her of identification, made her totally dependent, harder to escape or prove who she was.
And the report mentioned forced labor.
Right. For his snow removal business, Foco Snow Go. But get this, he made her wear a mask and sunglasses the whole time.
Just constant control.
Yeah.
Psychological, physical, altering her appearance even when outside.
Complete control. They eventually found her hidden, naked, in a closet in his residence. It speaks volumes about the dynamics of that captivity.
Horrifying. And it obviously required cooperation between Missouri and Fort Collins police.
Yeah.
FBI involved too, maybe?
Definitely interstate cooperation. FBI likely would be involved in any interstate kidnapping case, yes.
So where does the legal situation stand now?
Bondrescu is facing a list of charges in Larimer County, Colorado, serious ones. Second-degree kidnapping of a child, sexual assault on a child based on a pattern of abuse, and that failure to register charge we mentioned.
Okay. And bail.
Set high, $500,000 cash bond. His first court date was set for, I believe, May 5th, 2025.
Okay. So wrapping this up, the key takeaways seem pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, you see how grooming can jump from one platform to another. The absolute necessity of digital forensics, that IP address, was everything.
Right. And the complexities and maybe shortcomings of sex offender registries, especially across states.
And just the sheer calculated nature of the abduction, the control, the isolation.
So the final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. This guy had a prior conviction for almost the exact same type of online behavior.
So what does that tell us? How should we be monitoring individuals with known histories of digital offenses like this?
And maybe more broadly, how do we do a better job protecting vulnerable people online when the landscape keeps changing so fast?
It's a tough question. This case really brings it home.
A deeply disturbing case with implications we really need to think about. Thanks for tuning in to the Deep Dive.